When you hear a fire engine siren behind you, you must A. Slow down until it passes you. B. Drive with your flashers on. C. Pull over to the side of the road and stop. D. Speed up and take the nearest exit. C. Pull over to the side of the road and stop. When you hear the siren of an emergency vehicle, you must pull over to the curb or side of the road and stop. What does this road sign mean? A. Slow down and prepare to stop if cars are approaching you. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. C. Proceed carefully through the intersection, not always stopping. D. Stop only for traffic on an intersecting road. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. A stop sign means that you must come to a full stop and yield the right of way to vehicles and pedestrians in or heading toward the intersection. Go again when it is safe. A diamond-shaped sign means A. Yield. B. Stop. C. Warning. C. Warning. Diamond-shaped signs are used to warn drivers of special conditions or hazards ahead. They are typically yellow or orange in color. Where is parking prohibited? A. Within 45 feet of a fire hydrant. B. On a sidewalk. C. Within 100 feet of a driveway. B. On a sidewalk. There are a number of locations where parking is prohibited. These locations include on a sidewalk, within 15 feet of a fire hydrant, and in front of a driveway or near enough to a driveway to interfere with others' abilities to use it.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
If you park facing uphill where there is no curb, set the parking brake and A. Turn your wheels toward the edge of the road. B. Turn your wheels away from the edge of the road. C. Keep your wheels facing straight. A. Turn your wheels toward the edge of the road. When parking uphill on a road that does not have a curb, your front wheels should be turned to the right, toward the edge of the road. This will ensure that the vehicle will roll off of the road if the brakes fail. This sign means A. Two-way traffic. B. Lane shifting. C. Low clearance. D. Added lane. A. Two-way traffic. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that they may encounter traffic coming from the opposite direction. If you drink alcohol socially, what helps ensure safe driving? A. Drink coffee before driving. B. Ride home with a friend who has not been drinking. C. Take a cold shower before driving. D. Stop drinking 1/2 hour before driving. B. Ride home with a friend who has not been drinking. One strategy to avoid driving while impaired or intoxicated is to arrange for a ride home with a friend who does not drink. Drinking coffee or taking a cold shower cannot reduce your blood alcohol content or reduce the effects of alcohol. On average, it takes about an hour for the body to eliminate the alcohol from a single drink. You must stop at an intersection when you see A. Flashing red light. B. Steady yellow light. C. Yellow arrow. D. Flashing yellow light. A. Flashing red light. A flashing red traffic signal has the same meaning as a stop sign. At an intersection with a flashing red light, you must come to a complete stop, look both ways, and proceed only after the intersection is clear. If you are getting tired while driving, you should A. Stop and either get rest or change drivers. B. Drink something with caffeine. C. Open a window. A. Stop and either get rest or change drivers. To avoid the dangers of fatigued driving, take breaks every hour or so during a long trip. If possible, share driving responsibilities with another person so you can each sleep while the other person drives. Double solid yellow line markings down the center of a road indicate that passing is A. Allowed from both directions. B. Allowed only from your direction of travel. C. Not allowed from either direction. C. Not allowed from either direction. A double yellow centerline means that it is prohibited for traffic from either direction to cross the centerline to pass. When approaching a steady red traffic light, drivers should A. Drive through the intersection if there is no crossing traffic. B. Continue driving, as they have the right of way. C. Stop only if a police officer is nearby. D. Come to a complete stop. D. Come to a complete stop. A steady red traffic light indicates that drivers must come to a complete stop. Driving through a red light is against the law and is extremely dangerous. Drivers may turn right on a steady red light if there is no sign prohibiting a turn on red. When passing another car, you have enough space to return to the driving lane. A. If the other driver signals for you to re-enter the lane. B. If you look over your shoulder and see the passed car behind you. C. If you can see both of the passed vehicle's headlights in your rearview mirror. C. If you can see both of the passed vehicle's headlights in your rearview mirror. Before you return to the driving lane when completing a pass, be sure there is a safe gap between your vehicle and the passed vehicle. When you can see both headlights of the vehicle in your rearview mirror, it is safe to return to the driving lane. If your car begins to skid out of control, you should A. Pump the brakes. B. Apply the brakes lightly. C. Stay off the brakes. C. Stay off the brakes. If your vehicle begins to skid, stay off the brakes. Continue to correct your steering until the vehicle is back under your control and moving safely down the road. When changing lanes, you can check your blind spot by A. Using the inside rearview mirror. B. Turning your head and looking over your shoulder. C. Using your side mirror. B. Turning your head and looking over your shoulder. Even if your vehicle is properly equipped with mirrors, there are blind spots that cannot be seen by using the mirrors. Before changing lanes, look over your shoulder to check these areas. If you come to a railroad crossing with lowered gates and flashing warning lights, you should A. Drive around the crossing gates if you can't see a train. B. Come to a complete stop well behind the gates, wait for the tracks to clear, and proceed once the gates are lifted. C. Slow down and drive around the gates. B. Come to a complete stop well behind the gates, wait for the tracks to clear, and proceed once the gates are lifted. You must stop at a railroad crossing where signs, warning devices, or flaggers warn you of the presence of a train. It is illegal to drive around lowered gates. A broken yellow line down the center of a road indicates that a construction zone is ahead. B. Passing is not permitted from either direction. C. Passing is permitted from either direction. C. Passing is permitted from either direction. When broken yellow lines separate the lanes of traffic on a two-lane roadway, any driver may pass when there is no oncoming traffic. Hydroplaning occurs when tires ride on a thin film of water instead of on the road. To prevent hydroplaning in wet weather, you should a. Put on your cruise control to maintain a constant speed. B. Slow down. C. Move to the shoulder of the road as soon as it starts to rain. B. Slow down. Hydroplaning is caused by driving too fast on a wet road. Slow down when driving on wet pavement to prevent hydroplaning. A traffic light displaying a green arrow and a red light means that a. You may only drive straight ahead. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. C. You must wait for a solid green light to proceed in any direction. D. Vehicles moving in any direction must stop. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. If a green arrow is shown with a red light, you can only drive in the direction of the arrow and only if the intersection is clear. If a truck or bus is making a right turn where you also need to make a right turn, you should a. Quickly turn before the truck or bus is able to. B. Wait until the truck or bus turns before you turn. C. Squeeze between the truck or bus and the curb. B. Wait until the truck or bus turns before you turn. If you try to insert your vehicle between a turning truck or bus and a curb, you may suffer a serious crash. To avoid a collision, do not turn until the truck or bus has completed its turn. This sign means a. Trucks are permitted on an upcoming narrow bridge. B. The bridge ahead is open to one-way traffic only. C. The bridge ahead is wide enough for only one car at a time. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. Warning signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazardous conditions and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that an upcoming bridge may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck and that they should be careful. If you experience a tire blowout, A. Take your foot off the gas. B. Do not immediately use your brakes. C. Gradually slow down and pull off the side of the road. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you experience a tire blowout, take your foot off the gas pedal and do not immediately apply the brakes. Gradually slow down before gently applying the brakes and pulling off the side of the road. At a railroad crossing, you must A. Watch for vehicles that must stop at all railroad crossings, school buses, trucks carrying hazardous materials, etc. B. Watch for multiple trains. C. Both of the above. C. Both of the above. You must approach all railroad crossings with extreme caution and cross only when you know that no train is coming from either direction. Be aware of vehicles that must stop at all railroad crossings, such as school buses and trucks carrying hazardous materials. A steady yellow traffic signal light is a warning that the light is about to change to red. If you are already within the intersection when a green light changes to yellow, you should A. Stop. B. Continue moving and clear the intersection safely. C. Increase your speed so as not to cause an accident. B. Continue moving and clear the intersection safely. If you are already within an intersection when the traffic light turns yellow, you should clear the intersection as quickly as possible. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Intersection ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. D. Highway curves ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right. A yellow light that flashes on and off means A. Stop and look for other vehicles, then go if there is no traffic. B. Stop and wait for a green light. C. Speed up to clear the intersection quickly. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow traffic light means drivers should slow down and proceed with caution. Nighttime is the safest time for cyclists to ride their bikes. A. True. B. False. B. False. A bicycle is difficult to see in the dark, even when the cyclist is wearing a proper headlight and reflector. Both motorists and bicyclists should be especially alert when driving at night in order to prevent dangerous collisions. As a pedestrian, you should A. Always insist on the right-of-way over a vehicle when using a crosswalk. B. Never enter a street or crosswalk when vehicles are approaching. C. Enter a crosswalk at any time because it is the vehicle driver's responsibility to stop. D. Use crosswalks only if they are convenient. When your wheels run off the pavement, you should A. Hit the brakes hard. B. Grip the steering wheel firmly, begin to slow down, then move slowly back onto the road surface. C. Hit the brakes firmly and jerk the steering wheel hard to pull the vehicle onto the road surface as quickly as possible. B. Grip the steering wheel firmly, begin to slow down, then move slowly back onto the road surface. If one or more of your wheels run off of the pavement, grip the steering wheel firmly and slow down by taking your foot off the accelerator. Do not attempt to cut back sharply onto the pavement. Instead, look to see that the road is clear, then move slowly back onto the highway. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or using a guide dog, you should A. Slow down and be prepared to stop. B. Take the right of way. C. Proceed normally. D. Drive away quickly. A. Slow down and be prepared to stop. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or walking with a guide dog, you must slow down, yield the right of way, and then proceed with caution. Be prepared to stop your vehicle in order to prevent injury or danger to the pedestrian. When approaching an intersection with a flashing red light, you must A. Come to a complete stop. Yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians, then proceed. B. Reduce your speed and proceed with caution. C. Come to a complete stop and remain stopped as long as the light is red. A. Come to a complete stop. Yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians, then proceed. A flashing red traffic light means the same thing as a stop sign. When arriving at an intersection with a flashing red light, you must come to a full stop and proceed when it is safe to do so.